Hey there and welcome. Today I am going to be answering some questions I've been getting about our wooden kitchen countertops, how we built them, what they're made of, how things are holding up, and what we did to create wooden counters from tongue and groove flooring. So today I am going to walk you through that. Of course, I did do the video where we built these counters and you can go back and see that. I will put it right up here. But I'm going to give you an update today verbally, and these counters have been in for about 2 years now, so I'm going to talk to you about maintenance and everything you need to know if you're toying with the idea of doing this yourself. So where did this idea come from? Well, let me tell you. I'm a country girl. I love country kitchens. You can see I've got cast iron behind me here, mason jars filled with herbs and spices, and I really, really love the look of wood. However, we've looked into the butcher block option, which is kind of a raw wood that's been glued together, and there's some upkeep you have to do with it. But it really didn't fit in our kitchen. Along the west side of the kitchen, we have a really long counter space, and we actually couldn't get butcher block long enough to fill that distance. We were going to have a seam right in the middle of our counter, and that does not appeal. So we said maybe we could make our own. So originally, guys, we salvaged a whole bunch of oak flooring from a reno. My man was staying with somebody. They were doing a reno. He said, hey, can I buy your old flooring off of you? And they said, no, you can't, just take it. Just get rid of it. So for a while we thought we were going to use the oak and do the old beat up oak wood look. But my man started looking at things and he said, you know what? I think we can do better if we got some just ready to go tongue and groove wood flooring instead of this old oak that literally had to be stapled through the top. And so that is what we did. Somebody locally was selling a bundle or two of hickory wood flooring for very cheap. And so we said, let's try that. So we went and bought it and brought it home. And that is when the experimenting began. So when it came to our hardwood flooring, we were lucky that we were able to find something that did not have a lot of a bevel on it. So this is one of the pieces of hickory from the box. And you can look at the corners here. Sometimes your hardwood actually has a lot of a bevel, a lot taken off on the top edges here, because it makes it easier for whoever is installing it. They don't have to be as particular about their lines as if you would be if you had, you know, two square corners coming together. But when you're making a countertop, that's actually a problem because somehow you are going to either have to sand your wood down or else fill in the cracks because you need a smooth surface. So that was really important to us, and we were lucky that we got that. Otherwise, this process would have been really tough. The other thing that we ran into was I really didn't like the finish on it, and I don't know if you can see, but it is incredibly glossy. Like it's a high gloss finish. And so we wanted to take that off as well. So my man put everything together. Then we tried running a floor sander over everything. Didn't work. I remember sitting on it in an attempt to bring more weight so that it would take things off faster. But whatever is on this pre-finished hardwood was way too hard. We couldn't get it off. Finally, we had to use a handheld belt sander and push down really hard, and we could get it off with that finally. The finish off, then it was suddenly a question of how are we going to fill the cracks and what are we going to refinish the top of these counters with? Are we going to go with a food grade epoxy? Are we just going to do Varathane? And at the time we actually were in the middle of building our house, we didn't have internet. And so we just asked at our local hardware store and they said, just put a couple coats of Varathane on and it should be good and seal the cracks. We tried that. It did not seal the cracks. And as somebody who does a ton of from scratch cooking, I did not want little divots all over my counter wherever the boards butted up together. So he sanded it all down again, and then he got a waterproof wood glue and went through and just ran a bead of glue in all the cracks, let it dry. That seemed to seal things up really well. I think he had to do 2 coats of glue. And then he put down 2 coats of just Varathane to finish off the top. Here's the thing, I didn't want a really, really glossy finish. I still wanted a bit of a natural wood look, but to have it be sealed up a little bit. So that is what we did, and it actually held really, really well that first year. Everything was firm, solid. I had a relatively smooth surface so that if I was wiping up flour or something, it wouldn't get stuck in divots or cracks. He made me a backsplash, and it went really, really well for about the first year. And then as the temperatures changed, we have wood heat in our home. And so we did start to get some swelling and some shrinkage. And so the wood itself was fine, but the glue in the cracks did separate. So let me flip the camera around and show you what happened. And I think this is probably gonna be an ongoing thing. Most of it's fine, but there seems to be just key spots where the swelling and shrinking happens. So let me flip the camera around and show you. Like I said, most of the counter did really, really well and stuck together really well. You can see here where the corners join. My man specifically did this stair-step zigzag pattern instead of trying to cut a 45 and getting everything exact. And this has held really, really well in the corner here. But I'm just going to take you over this section. We actually do have crackage that keeps happening right here. So let me get up real close. There. So this is the glue with a coat of Varathane, and this exact seam seems to keep cracking. So my man has filled this once, and then we actually have it here as well. So we don't do a lot over on this counter. This is just from the moisture, variation in moisture, and then dryness in the countertop. So we do have a few issues like that. Now, with these places, my man simply buffed the surface with a bit of sandpaper, applied new glue, and then put a new coat of Varathane over the whole top. Now, he did say that next time he is just going to fill in the glue. It's such a tiny little crack that he just fills it in, wipes it down very carefully, and just next time he's just going to do that and let the glue dry and not put a new layer of Varathane over, simply because we don't do a lot of food prep on these counters. Obviously, I'm using cutting boards most of the time, and so that's his plan for next time. Anything I would tell somebody who wants to do these would be that yes, there is a little bit of ongoing maintenance. And my man has said he's tempted to try an epoxy coating, but with the wood swelling and shrinking a bit and adjusting with the seasons in the house and the dryness and the moisture, he's not sure if the epoxy coating would actually split. And so I think he's pretty set on just sticking with the Varathane. At least that's been my impression I've gotten from him. And I'm trying to think what the other questions were that came in. This is a Hickory wood flooring. Some people want to know about water. That's the other one. Let me show you behind the sink. We have had a little bit of water penetration there. So you do have to be conscious to keep things wiped up if you just do Varathane. Now, if you had an epoxy coating, that would be different. But with Varathane, let me show you what we've got behind our kitchen sink. So we do have one tiny spot here beside the counter that seems, or the sink that seems to want to keep splitting. So my man has had to fill that one time. But if you look back here, let me get it to focus for you. You can see we've got some water stain here. Probably I just left it overnight and forgot to wipe up behind the counter. We've got a little bit more here. So it's not, the Varathane is not a super hardy thing to put down, but it does allow for the crackage and the shrinking to happen without breaking the coating. So have I been happy with these kitchen counters? Well, the answer is yes. We learned so much. We spent so much time trying to sand them down and Varathaning and then gluing and trying to figure out how to create a smooth, even surface and how to create the wood look without the high sheen that an epoxy coating would bring. I would do it again in a heartbeat, especially now that I know what we're doing and my man knows what he's doing. There are a few things. He did say this little section to the side of the stove, if he had a shop and the clamps and stuff, he would have actually just glued the whole thing together so that it was a one whole unit that would expand and contract as a whole unit rather than having to nail it down. But for the west side of the kitchen, he didn't have a shop or enough clamps or a long enough work table to span the whole distance, so it wouldn't have worked anyway for that side of the kitchen. So we learned a lot, and I would say to anybody who's toying with the idea of doing wooden kitchen countertops, especially doing what we did, going in using tongue and groove flooring, I would say be prepared for a little bit of maintenance. It's been like once a year, but it is still maintenance. So if you're the type of person who does not need one more thing on their plate, don't put in wooden kitchen countertops because you will not be happy with them, because there is a tiny bit of maintenance, especially if you do the method we used here, where you're using tongue and groove flooring and creating the counter surface yourself. Butcher block is a little different, but I know you have to oil and stay on top of that as well. You have to be careful with water, a lot of different things. So I think just in general, wood countertops do take maintenance. And if you're not willing to do maintenance, don't put wood countertops in. All right, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's anything I missed that you want to know about, leave them below and I will get back to you on them. I might not have the answer. I might have to ask my man, but we will get back to you on that. I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to create countertops. And if you're okay with keeping things wiped up semi-regularly, and if you are willing to do that tiny bit of maintenance, then totally worth it for us. All right, folks, we'll see you later.